ABC Sports brings you the exciting final rounds of the $100,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions, another great tournament in the Professional Bowling Association's 1971 tour. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, our 13th and final stop, and there's not, and this is it.
Thank you, Chris, and it certainly is. The bowlers have been waiting all year to get back here. They've been grueling hard all week, Chris. 45, and I might say really grueling games. The 5 players here today, they came out on top, 4 going from the left, Don Johnson going from the right, and they should be some exciting matches.
All right, Billy, let's meet the 5 tournament leaders who will be competing for that top prize money of $25,000 in the $100,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions. In the number 5 position, bowling first today, now bowling out of Miami, Florida, Dave Davis.
Dave won the 1970 San Jose Open Championship, and he won here at Firestone in 1968.
He will meet the tournament's 4th-ranked bowler, 47 years old and young, from Syracuse, New York, Marty Pirano.
Marty got here by winning the 1970 Fresno Open on the summer tour.
And the winner of the first game will challenge the number 3 bowler, originally from Kokomo, Indiana, now bowling out of Akron, Ohio, Mr. Don Johnson.
Don has many championships. His most recent was at Las Vegas at the Showboat, the defending champion.
The winner of this match will challenge the number 2 man in the tournament, from Astoria, Long Island, New York, Dick Batista.
They call him the Animal. He won in the summer tour at Grand Rapids. He's really tough.
And the winner of that semifinal game will bowl for first place money against the tournament leader, and can you believe this, the 8th time in 13 telecasts this year, from Brooklyn, New York, John Petraglia.
Welcome to the Johnny Petraglia show, folks.
Going for 3 wins in a row. So there they are, the finalists of the $100,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions, with John Petraglia in the top position. He's the man to beat this afternoon. We'll be back for the start of the action live and in color on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Again, a thrilling Tournament of Champions. As you see, Marty Pirano defeated Dave Davis in the first game, 268 to 195. Don Johnson upset Pirano 214 to 193. And in the last game just completed, Don Johnson, the defending champion, defeated Dick Batista 183 to 174. Now for $37,000. First stroke in the championship game. Don Johnson averting a split, leaving the 5-pin. Johnson, who won here last year, one of the memorable sports events for us, and we've seen a lot in every sport, when he, on the final ball, knocked everything down but the 10-pin for a 299 victory. He won the championship. His opponent here in this game is Johnny Petraglia, shooting a spare. He has it.
He's getting to be Thrill-A-Mint Johnson right now.
And now, in the orange, we have John Petraglia. We could call this the John Petraglia hour and a half the past 3 weeks. In fact, 8 times in 13 shows he has been on the telecast. 24 years old. And opens with a strike. John Petraglia, who served with a Green Beret in Vietnam for 2 years.
And Chris received another beautiful letter from his mother and father, and we have a standing invitation for an Italian dinner whenever we can do it.
Little lasagna, huh?
Whatever.
Clams oregano.
Mama Petraglia is cooking. And son John is cooking.
A double for Petraglia, who effortlessly knocks him down.
Dave, right there behind Mike Durbin is Dave Stapleton, who is chairman of the board of S&W Industries, and his wife, Mary.
Coming up high, and it's a 7-10 for the defending champion.
The real sharp break, you can see that it's going to be way to the left of the 1-3 pocket. And bowling's toughest split. You could tell from the look on Marianne's face that things aren't too happy right now.
So it's an open frame for Don Johnson, giving him 27 through the second. He'll be moving over to shoot in the third frame. His opponent, John Petraglia, opened with a double, taking now a 23-pin lead. Good strike by Johnson in the third frame. Now Petraglia. The leading money winner, 41,153.
That almost went, Chris.
Yes.
Very close. It's coming from that wide angle, and here we're going to see a strike that was much closer than it appeared. The base of that pin, with all the weight of the belly, almost tipped it over.
Petraglia, opening with a double, marking with a spare in the third.
Chris, if he wins today, 25,000. There you see his average for the week, 214. If he wins today, he'll be within $1,000 of the all-time money-winning record for one season on the tour, and he'll still have 8 months to go. Fantastic year for Johnny Petraglia.
A strike in the fourth. John Petraglia, leading by 20 We'll be back with more of the final match between Don Johnson and John Petraglia in the $100,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions, live and in color from Akron, Ohio. Don Johnson, the numbers 1 and 4 on the money list in this championship game, worth $25,000 to the winner. The loser gets $12,500. At the moment, Don Johnson trails Petraglia by 22 pins. Johnson, however, has a strike up in the third, shooting now in the fourth.
He's staying with that outside angle, Chris. Got to have the long stroke. Gave it the long stroke, but there wasn't enough left to come back off that edge.
Let's see it from the start.
See, he's been short, 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 and high, high, high 3 straight times. Now here he gives it the long stroke, which will make the ball slide. You see this reach? Now it's sliding too much. There you see it. No traction. No action. Bad faction.
Going for the 2-8.
Tough spare there, Chris. Great match, Chris. The hottest bowler on the tour in recent years and the defending champion. That could be a fitting wind-up. There you see a gentleman, Ed Freeman, and his son, Ken. They're great hosts here. Done a wonderful job with the Riviera Lanes.
We have to salute the fans, the spectators, too, Billy. Turn-away crowd. Each of the sessions here.
I hope we get an arena here in Akron someday. Oh!
Now, Don Johnson will try the 5-7 as a result of this shot.
Now watch the ball deflect. There you see, going by, missing the 5. And with it deflecting, he's not getting the usual pin action. Sometimes goes into a thin strike. Now he's going to move to that extreme left, play a sliding shot from left to right, and try to slide the 5 into the 7.
The big try, but an open frame. On the left, that is Scotty Brubaker, Vice President of Advertising and Public Relations for Firestone. And on the right of the screen, Eddie Elias, the Executive Director of the PBA. Great friend. Petraglia with a double. That strike coming in the 5th frame, increasing his lead to 45 pins.
Powerful ball, too, Chris. He just lost that 5 pin. And earlier we talked to Johnny Petraglia, and this is what he had to say.
Well, I'm a little more nervous this week than all the other weeks. This tournament is a little bit different. This is the Tournament of Champions, the one that everybody would like to win. I like the house. I have a pretty good line on the pair. But I really don't know how I'm going to bowl. We'll just have to see what happens.
And the happening there, he stuck at the foul line, which caused him to pull the shot across his body. Very pleased he avoided the split. Now here's where he goes off balance at the line, right here. And you see, there he loses his footing, sticks now when he tries to catch himself, and does avoid perhaps a foul there, Chris.
Coming up way too high.
There's the alternate shot, Chris. A very slight margin of adjustment. The ball goes way left. Give it a little room to the right. Then in the previous frame you saw he didn't get any traction at all. And that's been the difficult thing for the right-handed bowler here this week.
Don Johnson getting into the finals with 2 wins, one over Marty Pereno, 214 to 193, then defeating Dick Batista, 183 to 174. And now this is it, the final game.
And a real tough spare, too. Covers it like a champ. That he is. It's especially tough because of that back pin, the 9. There you see enough hook on the ball to go through and knock it out.
The winner here last year, Don Johnson, trailing by 43 pins in this final game. A strike in the 7th for Johnson.
And he's got to start doing that, Chris, because he's running out of frames.
Now it's Petraglia, ready to shoot in the 7th with a spare up.
Avoids a split, Chris, again, and he's very pleased with that lead. You viewing fans would like to take this opportunity, and Chris, it was a great pleasure to be there. We were at the Broadcasters Convention in North Carolina on Tuesday night. Chris received the Sportscaster of the Year award for the 4th time. It was a pleasure to be there with you, Chris, and I'm very, very highly honored to be working with you.
Well, I'm flattered, Billy, and appreciate all those that voted, and of course I have to thank viewers too, and ABC, because we have the great sports events week in and week out, 52 weeks a year. You can't miss.
Incidentally, folks, ABC was filming the reception of the award the other night. You'll see it today on Wide World of Sports.
Oh, the tripper! Yes. Don Petraglia striking in the 8th frame.
You see the ball churning. Now the pin goes to the right wall and comes back and trips out the 6 and the 10.
Johnson now, strike up.
Well, that was the must strike for Don Johnson, Chris, and he moved back to his deep inside angle. I think that was the one that he really needed to get back in the hunt, and it looks like the spell of Don Johnson here at Riviera in the Firestone TOC is about over for this year.
It's a spare for Johnson, who has been in the finals 5 straight years with a victory last year and a couple of seconds along the way.
I think the most commendable thing that I could say about Don Johnson's performance, Chris, was the way he handled that track through 48 games and the gritty determination he showed to be just where he is today.
9th frame. Leaving the 4-7 on the left lane. We'd like to thank the Riviera Lanes and the PBA for all of their cooperation and the fact that prize monies were furnished by the PBA and Riviera Lanes. As we look at John Petraglia, leading money winner, who's in a good position to add $25,000 to his over 41 that he's earned already at 24 years of age.
Chris, as we go away, this being the last telecast on our winter tour, I think it'd be fitting we thank our statisticians, Harry Smith, Ralph Anginsky, Feremsky, and Don Glover. They've kept us honest all year.
John Petraglia with a strike in the ninth. His lead now is 53 pins. And you know, in doing these live color telecasts, we've had some great technical help and production help coming from many, many people at ABC. John Petraglia winning 3 in a row on the PBA Tour.
Last time that was done, 1961, by Dick Weber. And it's great to see a young man come like Johnny did, back from Vietnam, apply himself, the tour of duty on the lanes, replacing his tour of duty in the service, and go out like the swinging champion. Look at him. 245 possible with a strike on this ball.
He has 8 strikes in this game. Make it 9. And a 245 victory. We'll be back in just a minute to meet the $100,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions.
After the rush and crush of the day, man deserves some time to call his own. Some time to relax with a great beer. A beer with quality to linger over. The taste of something great.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through. But when it's time to relax, Miller stands clear. Beer after beer. If you've got the time, if you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller beer. If you've got the time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, 24-year-old Johnny Petraglia has won the $25,000 first prize check here in the Firestone Tournament of Champions. We'll talk to him in a moment. But right now, let's hand out some money to handsome Dave Davis, $2,500. Here you are, Dave.
Thank you very much, Chris. I'd like to congratulate John, I'll tell you. I used to think I knew how to bowl, Chris, but this guy's teaching me some things I didn't know. Great bowler, John. To Firestone, what else can you say but thank you?
Nice job, Dave. Marty Pirano from Syracuse, New York, 47 years old and $3,500. Nice going.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Gotta hurry.
The wonderful people in Akron and the people of Firestone, I can never say thank you enough. God bless all. Thank you.
And now, Dick Batista, $6,500. Nice going, Dick. I'll let you take that top check.
I want to thank Firestone and everybody here. They were just wonderful, and it was just one of those things I couldn't get started.
Nice going, Dick. Now, Don Johnson, the defending champion. Don, this will ease the pain, $12,500.
Beautiful. I tell you, it was an honor to appear on Johnny Petraglia's show.
That's right.
I'd like to thank Firestone. They've just been fabulous, and they just announced they're going to raise the prize money $25,000 more next year. So that's really beautiful.
All right.
All righty. We'll see you, Chris.
Thank you, Don. A lot of credit goes to the executive director of the PBA, who's standing by along with Scotty Brubaker. But right now, $25,000 to Johnny Petraglia. There you go. Stepping in now, Vice President of Advertising and Public Relations for Firestone, a great sports figure and a longtime friend, Scotty Brubaker.
Johnny, we thought we had a pretty good-sized bowl, but all the money you've won this winter, you can't store it in it. Do you have a big trophy room?
No, Scotty, I don't, but we'll find room.
Beautiful game. You bowled wonderfully all week. Proud to have you as our champion.
Thank you very much.
Scotty, I think you have also something to be proud of, where you've upped the overall prize money for next year's Tournament of Champions.
Yes, I think we'll have even a more exciting tournament with the extra $25,000, Chris, in there next year.
You know, anxious to get in here is the executive director of the Professional Bowlers Association, Mr. Eddie Elias, and I know he wants to congratulate you, Johnny.
Oh, thank you. I would like to thank Scotty Brubaker and the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company and the PBA this is our greatest tournament. There's no doubt about that, and it's the biggest thrill to win it. And the folks in Akron, the tournament all week, everything about it has been so great. I was shaking today. I can't even talk out, Chris.
No, you're a veteran television star after all.
Not this week, Chris.
8 weeks out of 13.
Right.
Here comes Eddie Elias now. I think he might want to take that $25,000 and manage it for you. Eddie?
Thank you, Chris. John, congratulations. But there's another reason we're out here, Chris. To the sports fans all over America, we'd like to present you with this beautiful plaque, Chris. For again, you've been voted the outstanding sportscaster of 1970. It's the first time we won this honor from the National Sportscasters and Sports Writers of America. Congratulations, Chris Schenkel.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, listen, John. You know, I should ask Eddie, where's the $25,000 check, right?
Right.
But I'm glad you have it, and I know your mom and dad back in Brooklyn and all your friends are overly thrilled, and you probably go back there for a little party.
Oh, they're going to be partying right now, Chris.
Lasagna.
They might all be passed out when I get there.
Well, again, and Scotty and Eddie, it's been a great, our 10th year on the PBA telecast, and it's the one series that I thoroughly enjoy, and I hope to see all of you next year. All of us at ABC appreciate everything you have done, including your performance.
Thank you very much.
All right, John Petraglia, the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, actually, it's springtime here with the flowering dogwood, flowering crab, and all that sort of thing. Absolutely lovely. And we're happy to be here with these friendly people and representatives of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, some 3,700 members. And I'd like to point out a little trivia for you right at the beginning. All tax-paying Americans are bowling proprietors. I figured this out this morning because in the White House in Washington, D.C., there are 2 bowling lanes, and we all help pay for it, right? Okay. Speaking of bowling proprietors, here's a man that knows all about the operations of bowling centers, and he is an expert on the game of bowling itself. My colleague, Nelson Burton, Jr. Bo?
Thank you, Chris. You know, this tournament here is the only tournament where the amateurs can compete with the pros on the PBA Tour. And the U.S. Open traditionally is won by the #1 seed, who this week happens to be a left-hander. But the most interesting guy in the finals this week is our #3 seed. He is a league bowler who has made it through the 56 games of competition this week and has a chance to win the U.S. Open.
A big chance?
Well, I don't know. The field he's got to get through is very tough to beat. Very, very tough.
Well, we all look forward to your commentary, Bo.
Okay, partner.
Nelson Burton, Jr. So today, it's the $100,000 BPA United States Open, live from Greensboro, North Carolina. And now let's meet the 5 tournament leaders who'll be competing for the top prize of $10,000. In the #5 position from Charlotte, North Carolina, with 4 PBA titles, George Pappas. He will meet the tournament's 4th-ranked bowler from Atlanta, Georgia, with 15 PBA titles, Dave Davis. The winner of the first game will challenge the #3 bowler from Brooklyn, New York, looking for his first PBA title, Charlie Venable. The winner of this match will challenge a #2 man from Hamden, Connecticut, looking for his first PBA title, Bill Spigner. And the winner of that semifinal game will bowl for the championship against the tournament leader from Staten Island, New York, with 9 PBA titles, Johnny Petraglia. By Bo Burton. I don't have any hot tips on the Flamingo Stakes. Going to be covered live here on Wide World of Sports following this telecast. But I can tell you one thing. When the 3-year-olds early in the season get together and at beautiful Hialeah, it is always a tremendous race. And it gives you a good idea what will happen in the Wood, and more important, what will happen in the first leg of racing's Triple Crown. That's on Wide World Today, live coverage of the Flamingo Stakes. Now, into the final match worth $10,000 to the winner. Bill Spigner shoots first against Johnny Petraglia. Oh, off and running. 227 in the last game to Dave Davis's 158.
taking advantage of that angle of attack. He's a little smile on his face, Chris. He knows he lost the ball in a downswing. Petraglia does too. When a bowler gets a break like that, you expect him not to get a strike. But the good straight arm swing of Bill Spigner kept the ball in line and gave him a swisher. Ball in the 5 right over in the 7.
There you get that familiar style of left-hander Johnny Petraglia, 30 years old, from Staten Island, New York. And let's look again at the profile of Petraglia.
Johnny been in a mild slump for the last year, and one of the reasons, Chris, is he was dropping his left shoulder too far down. Right now, he's got it up a little higher and his head a little steadier. Low at the line, the good follow through.
All right. Match all even after 1 frame. Pair of strikes. Now trying to double Petraglia. The 7 pin.
Petraglia throws a bigger hook than Davis, Chris, so you can just imagine how sharply that ball's breaking on the last 3 or 4 or 5 feet of the lane. And what Petraglia's doing that Davis wasn't is he's throwing the ball a little harder. We have Johnny on the radar gun at 19 miles an hour. Davis was at 18.
Very coordinated athlete, in high school captain of the bowling team and the gymnastics team, Johnny Petraglia. Wow. The sound of the result of speed. Petraglia spare in the 2nd, and now up, hoping to double, is Bill Spigner. We have an all East Coast final here in the BPAA United States Open. There's the double he was looking for.
Spigner, who slides about a foot behind the foul line. Notice where his feet, as opposed to Johnny Petraglia, creeps all the way up to the foul line and lays the ball very short at the line, just a slight loft over the line. But he likes that because he says it makes his ball roll more even on the lane. And an even true roll is what a pro can adjust off of.
Two, 4, 5, 8 for Spigner.
You know, Chris, Larry Lobb lays the ball short on the tour, and Bill Spigner is the one other man on the tour that lays it short, and I ask him why he plays the ball that way.
Well, I roll the ball early because it gives me a more consistent reaction in house to house across the country. I started doing that a couple years ago, and it worked pretty well for me so far.
Voice of 27-year-old Bill Spigner of Hamden, Connecticut. Okay, covered the bucket. Fine fashion. Spigner, after a double, marks with a spare in the 3rd. Coming from a family that bowls. His dad averages 180, his mother 140, and his sisters 140 and 160.
Johnny Petraglia asking for his 2nd re-rack of the match. A player is only allowed 1 in each game he bowls on national television. Petraglia has already used up 1. He has to ask Harry Golden for a 2nd one, our national tournament director. He was refused. He must shoot the pins as they are.
For Johnny Petraglia of Staten Island.
Quite a break, but pulling the ball all the way over the right side. But, Chris, he only has to miss about a board for that ball to break that much with the hook that he throws. Look where that ball is, and it's going to end up on the right-hander's pocket. Look at that sharp break. Almost looks like a cue ball coming off with English. Actually gets a break off the sideboard.
Looks like my slice.
A pro has to take advantage of breaks like this.
Oh, and a powerful strike by Petraglia. It's a double for him. We're going to take a break, but back with more action after this.
Some tire companies talk about their low prices, but it took Firestone to do something about it. Firestone introduces down-to-earth prices. on its long mileage, double-belted Deluxe Champion Super Belt. White wall prices start as low as 4 for just $116. And remember, you can charge them too. So drop into your participating Firestone dealer for real down-to-earth prices.
Aerosol. Not an economical way to apply deodorant. In fact, you'd use up this 4-ounce can of the leading aerosol, buy another, use it up, buy a third, use it up, before you'd use up 1 2.5-ounce Speed Stick. Men and Speed Stick is solid deodorant. An even, effective layer of protection you apply directly. Nothing's wasted. That's why 1 million more Americans took our advice last year. They got off the can. They got on the stick.
In the Triad area of North Carolina, not too far from Hendersonville, High Point, all the great areas of this beautiful state, Greensboro. And this is the final match in our live coverage of the BPA United States Open. Bill Spigner defeating Dave Davis in the semifinal after Dave won 2, is going against Johnny Petraglia, trailing by 4, spare working, shooting in the 4th.
Spigner, although being tall, uses up most of the approach, Chris, at the back end of the approach, but when he gets near the foul line, he slides about 8 to 9 inches behind the line. Most pros try to creep right up to the line. Bill Spigner about 8 or 9 inches. Probably a habit he got when he was a little kid. They probably said, stay behind the foul line, and he does.
There's his pop in the check jacket and the colorful shirt. That's Pete Couture, the young lady. I don't know.
One of the employees of Brunswick Friendly Lanes.
I knew you would know.
Come on. Okay, Bill Spigner has to get it back together. He's making the same mistake Davis did. He's starting to get slow. When you are charging for a title, you don't want to throw too hard, but take a tip from Dick Weber. You got to be amped up. These titles are not given to you. You have to win them. That's more like it. You can hear the ball out on the lane, a little extra speed. Cut down the hook.
Now John Petraglia. He has a double working, shooting in the 5th frame. This is a final match worth $10,000.
As Dave Davis told me coming off the lanes, Chris, he said if Petraglia is going to win this match, he must hit this right-hand lane. He says the ball breaks very late, and you have to make a perfect shot to get it in the 1-2 pocket.
Three in a row for Petraglia.
A great shot by Johnny Petraglia, and before we went on, I asked him why the lefties haven't been making too many great shots on the tour this year.
Well, I've been bowling about the same average that I have for the last 5 or 6 years in the low 2 teens, but the scores have been very high this year, and it's been very tough to compete with the right-handers on those kind of conditions.
By he means high, Chris, the scores have been extremely high in most of our tournaments this year. For the right-handers, the lefties are still bowling about the same.
A few years ago.
A slightly younger Johnny Petraglia.
3-time ABC All-American in all New York City Metro twice. Oh, or bagger. Hey, speaking of things that come in multiples, Wide World this afternoon, 5 Eastern, Pacific, 4 Central, live coverage of the Flamingo Stakes. Get a good insight on what could happen in the Kentucky Derby, also to be seen here on ABC, along with the Preakness, and then NCAA swimming and diving, and the World Trophy freestyle skiing. Tomorrow, the world's superstars, United States Boxing Championships, and Sunday's Wide World of Sports. Leaving the 10.
A solid 10. Spigner made a great shot to close this match down and close the difference. 26 pins. He has to get on the stick. Petraglia being very aggressive, but not to be the solid 10. You know, Chris, since in the last 4 weeks, the #1 seed, the tournament leader, has won, last 3 weeks, has won the match. And that's quite a turnaround with our new practice ball rule we've been using on the tour.
Nice smooth coverage of the 10 pin by Bill Spigner of Hamden, Connecticut.
Gary Mage is 52nd at the Firestone Tournament of Champions. He's the last man eligible for this year's Firestone. If Bill Spigner wins today, Gary Mage will go to 53rd spot at the Firestone, and they only have 52. So I don't say he's rooting against him, but I guess he has to root a little bit for Petraglia.
Petraglia, who won the 1971 Firestone Tournament of Champions. Another important strike for Spigner in the 7th frame, 126 through the 6th.
Johnny Petraglia, leading by 26, has not won a pro tournament in almost 3 years, Chris. He's gone through something that Dave Davis went through one time. Petraglia has gone 7 straight tournaments he bowled for the title match, has finished 2nd. So he's 0 for 7 in his last 7 title matches.
Oh, 5-bagger for Johnny Petraglia. Oh, those are just powerful, powerful strikes.
And to show the difference in the speed of the ball, what Petraglia is putting out there, he dished that ball down there at 20 miles an hour. Bill Spigner, 18. That's really sipping him down there, Chris. This is an amped-up shot. Petraglia can really put Spigner on the ropes with another strike. He's got to give it all he has.
Johnny, who's 5'11" and weighs 145 pounds, 30 years old. From frames 3 through 8 strikes.
A tough competitor, an experienced competitor. He knows how to win. Johnny Petraglia really put it on Bill Spigner. But Spigner's not out of it. Still has a chance for 244. Petraglia going at a 249 pace. Anything can still happen if Spuds or Bill Spigner can throw a few strikes.
A double now for Spigner. That strike in the 8th frame.
If Spigner wants or can be the U.S. Open champion this year, Chris, he must strike in this frame. He has to put the pressure on Petraglia, plus he needs a score. He's going at a 214 pace, strikes 9th, 10th, 11th, would put him up in 240 range, would force Petraglia to get good counts and mark.
For Spigner, an all-East final, 10,000 to the winner, 6,000 to the loser.
Every shot a key shot. Pro bowlers are, when they get ahead, Chris, they must really try to pile up the big score because their opponent's a pro and he knows how to throw strikes.
Another one.
Oh. There's something he just can't teach. Johnny Petraglia knew that was probably the biggest key shot of his match. He went up there, extra speed, 21 miles an hour, extra loft, extra power. Just sucked those pins right off there like a vacuum sweeper. That was the big, big shot.
Unbelievable. Opening with a strike, marking with a spare, striking the rest of the way, now shooting in the 10th frame.
Possible 280 game.
You know, Johnny has a brown belt in karate. Runs a karate school, has a financial interest in it. And
well, he just put on his black belt in bowling today,
Chris.
I
guess he did.
He is the new U.S. Open champion.
Some of those shots.
Fantastic. Driving that ball right in the pocket.
Strikes in a row. A winner of $10,000, the new United States Open champion. And one of the great bowlers of all time, Johnny Petraglia, who had 9 PBA titles coming in here.
Possible 280. 279.
A winning 279. We'll be back.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Light beer from Miller, I love you. You got a third less calories than the regular beer, and really are less filling, which is something to cheer. But what I like above all the rest is the way you taste. You are the best. Yes, blue is the violet and red is the rose. And if you don't believe me, I'm gonna break your nose.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
What are more people using to help their cars last?
Quaker State motor oil.
Shoot, Quaker State. Hey, Quaker State.
Quaker State. What are more people using to help them avoid expensive engine repairs?
Quaker State.
Quaker State. What else?
Quaker State.
Quaker State.
Quaker State helps cars last. Maybe that's why Quaker State's the best-selling motor oil in America.
Wide World of Sports presents live and exclusive coverage of the $100,000 added Flamingo Stakes from Hialeah, Florida, a major stepping stone to the Kentucky Derby. Every top 3-year-old in training today has been nominated for the 48th running of the prestigious Flamingo. Plus the NCAA Swimming and Diving Championships from Cleveland and the World Trophy Freestyle Skiing Championships from Stratton, Vermont. All coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Oh, what a powerful victory by Johnny Petraglia, 279 to 232. Congratulations, John.
Thank you, Chris.
Did your expertise in karate have anything to do? I've never seen you throw so fast, so hard, and so powerful.
Well, when I was practicing on the side, I knew that the pair was breaking down, especially lane 30. They were hooking quite a bit. And when I threw my practice shots, I'd broken down about 3 boards more than I thought, so I just tried to concentrate to throw it as hard as I could without heaving it. But I heaved most of them anyway.
So you'll always remember that you're the United States Open champion, going along with your Firestone Tournament Champions victory. Lou France, chairman of the tournament committee of the BPAA, is putting the trophy on a little velvet there. Look at that beauty, John Petraglia. Lou, come in here and make a comment.
Thank you, Chris. Johnny, I'd like to congratulate you, and I'm sure my fellow members of the BPAA from coast to coast wish you well in the future and know you're going to carry this title to its utmost.
Well, thank you very much, Lou. It's been a long time coming, and I can't think of a better tournament to win than the U.S. Open to break a string of second places. And everybody in Greensboro has just been fantastic all week, the best we've been treated in a long time.
10,000 isn't bad. C.C. Bearden of Fort Worth and Dallas, an old friend of ours, with the check.
Good, Chris, thank you. I'm just glad it was Lou that brought the trophy up rather than me. It looks a little bit heavy. Johnny, congratulations. I'm sure that you'll be a real good U.S. BPA champion this next year. And on behalf of the Bowling Proprietors Association of America, I'd like to present you with this $10,000 check. Good bowling, Johnny.
Thank you very much.
Gotta go. Nice going, Johnny Petraglia. Final score.
For the 19th consecutive year, the Pro Bowlers Tour, live from Sterling Heights, Michigan. It's the $100,000 PBA National Championship. Competing for the $15,000 first prize will be Gary Dickinson of Fort Worth, Texas, Sam Zurich of Centerport, New York, John Denton of Midland, Texas, Jay Robinson from Van Nuys, California, and the tournament leader from Staten Island, New York, Johnny Petraglia. Yes, you're looking at the Sunnybrook Lanes, suburbia, Detroit, Michigan. An overcast day, a capacity crowd here. Let me tell you, these may be the most enthusiastic bowling fans we've seen in all 19 years. Good afternoon, I'm Chris Schenkel, delighted to be back in the Detroit area where for so many years I did Detroit Lion games. They will be back, that's right. But this is a national championship for the Professional Bowlers Association, and it's being renewed for the 21st time. An interesting field, and we're proud to say our colleague, Nelson Burton Jr., finished 9th. We'd like to bring him in right now. Bo?
Thank you.
This is your very own championship, PBA.
Well, right, Chris. This is the second leg of the bowling's Triple Crown. We had the U.S. Open last week, the National this week, Firestone's just 3 weeks down the line. And over 300 pros started this week, no amateurs at all, and we're down to the top 5 players. And these 5 players are the ones that conquered a shot that we haven't seen in a number of years on a Pro Bowlers Tour. It's appropriately called the gutter shot. And by that, I mean is that both the right-handers and the left-handers start the ball on the extreme outside and let the ball break very sharply towards the pocket. The 1-2 for the lefties, the 1-3 for the righties. And there's some great things can happen. A lot of strikes, a lot of angle. But there's some also devastating things can happen. If you throw it too slow, you can leave a lot of splits. If you throw it a little wide, it could go in what we call the gutter.
What about our 5 finalists?
Well, they've been scoring real well on this pair of lanes all week. Dickinson, who is a number 5 position, could be the only 2-time winner we've had this year. He won earlier in Anaheim. He goes against a man we haven't seen before, but who has bowled sensational. He rolled 2 perfect games on our TV pair this week. Sam Zurich. He goes against the winner of one tournament before, John Denton. The winner of that goes against Jay Robinson, who loves this shot. He's great on the outside. He could really be tough. And then the tournament leader, left-hander Johnny Petraglia. He's won the U.S. Open. He's won the Firestone. He needs this one here to be only the 2nd man in bowling history to complete the triangle, the Triple Crown of bowling.
We look forward to your commentary.
All right.
Jay Robinson. Now, we're going to our professional bowling tip of the week as we reach from Sterling Heights, Michigan, outside of Detroit. Friends off the approaches. Johnny Petraglia on the left. Gary Dickinson, winner of 3 matches here today. And now they compete against one another for the $15,000 first prize.
And Petraglia really looks strong in the practice balls, Chris.
Mm-hmm. This man could win and be our first double winner of the tour this year. Oh, there we go, Bo.
The 4, 6, 7. We've seen it so far today 3 times. And that's when you just ease up a little bit from the channel and that ball breaks through very sharply. Actually, he crosses the old track area right up near the pocket and will not set up. Dickinson will just go for 9 on this shot. What an opening for Petraglia.
Righty against a lefty here. Sunnybrook Lane. All right. Now, in his customary green shirt from Staten Island, New York, we get a look today at 33-year-old Johnny Petraglia. 13 PBA titles, 15 years, member of the PBA. Look at that shot.
Tell you, one of the reasons I picked Petraglia is I watched him practice earlier, and I know the tournament leader has been losing, but on this particular pair of lanes, Johnny's ball just finished so well on the right-hand lane. Now, here's a picture of his style. He drops that left shoulder, and he's turned completely away from the pocket, which helps him play the outside line, much like Jay Robinson. And Johnny, just like the righties, is playing down that very outside edge board.
15-year career, first time he has a chance to win the PBA National. Down on the left knee, the left-hander from Staten Island, New York. He has a double.
Now Petraglia, watch that left shoulder. It's great for that outside shot. He drops that shoulder way down. It's much below his right shoulder, but he closes it just as he gets to the foul line. He still leaves it down, which helps him play the gutter shot or the outside line.
So right back in the pocket now in the right lane after an open. Gary Dickinson, winner of 3 games, striking the 2nd.
Dickinson to the extreme outside line on the right-hand lane, throws his best shot of the day on this lane. Nice, easy roll, smooth into the pocket. The 2 players are both using rubber balls this week, Chris. Dickinson, the hard rubber ball, about 90 hardness. Petraglia, the softer one, in the high 70s.
So Dickinson has a double, the young man. Who was born north of Paris, Texas, now from Fort Worth.
When we talk about the hard ball and the soft ball, as all the folks at home know, the harder ball naturally has a harder outside shell. The softer ball, a little softer shell, and it'll bite the lane a little more.
Oh, as he zeroed in. The man who in the Miller High Life Classic bowled Gary Dickinson in the semifinal game and lost as Gary went on to win his 7th PBA title. So this is a rematch. And looking away. Counting the stitches in the sole of his bowling shoe.
Petraglia had a little something in his left eye. He made a tremendous charge from down in the pack the last day, Chris, to take over the #1 spot. And remember, the tournament leader has only won 2 times this year. 10 losses and only 2 wins. Petraglia has a good lead, 21 pins.
but the 7 on the left lane for Petraglia.
And an animated Petraglia ran that ball out about 3 lanes. Solid 7.
Well, we had some. Here's the way the shot looked and the result.
Watch the 4 pin, the second pin on the left-hand part of your screen, fly over the 7 pin. Wow, never had a chance. Tremendous power, not a good break.
We're in the Detroit area, which has produced a lot of great names in bowling. Joe Joseph, Billy Golombiewski, Bob Strampy, and so on down the line. We'll be back after this.
You dance on a river of wood, and the spinning shapes in the cold, dark water are your only bridge home. So you keep on dancing until the last log is in place and you can head for Miller time. Time for the best tasting beer you can find, Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax, we've got the beer, Miller beer. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
If one of these chuck holes has your name on it, put your name on this. Firestone's inline all the time agreement. It gives you a complete front-end alignment whenever you need it for 5 years or 50,000 miles, whichever comes first. If you can't steer clear of chuck holes, and who can? Put your name on an inline all the time agreement at Firestone at a very low price.
Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, live, a rematch of the WBC World Light Heavyweight Championship. Ex-champ John Conte tries to avenge his controversial defeat to champion Matthew Saad Muhammad. And from the ring to the racetrack, live, 3-year-old Triple Crown hopefuls race in the Florida Derby next.
All right, here's the leader. Winner of 3 matches coming into this PBA National Championship final game. Gary Dickinson. Down by 20.
After his first major title, first one in the Triple Crown. He's never won the U.S. Open, the National, or the Firestone. Trails by 20, double working, can cut the lead of Petraglia to 10.
Now leaves the 10 pin on the right lane.
Same type of break that Petraglia had for the lefty. The righty left a solid 10, Petraglia the solid 7. It was a crucial spot in the match because now Petraglia has a 21-pin lead considering a conversion by Gary Dickinson. And there's Dickinson's 2-finger shot we saw in the Miller High Life Open earlier in the year. He used to make all his spares.
All right, we're delighted at ABC Sports to be covering the PBA National Championship for the first time.
That 2-finger shot has its advantage. It takes the roll off the ball and doesn't allow the wrist to break in behind it, and it makes it easier. We say with spares, you just have to touch the pin. You don't have to overpower it. Strike ball, you can use power and accuracy. On spares, just accuracy.
On the left lane now. That was really outside.
Chris Dickinson's got his act together. He's using a lot of turn and hook on the left lane and straight at him on the right.
Listen to the hobbies of John Petraglia: karate, reading, golf, and gymnastics. On the right lane, John Petraglia. Sooner or later, right, 4-7.
Brush the foul line, just let the ball get away from him. Leaves the 4-7 cutting through very sharply, almost breaks it down. Look at this pin come across, almost knocks out the 4 and the 7. Doesn't get the 7. Petraglia will go for it.
Ever so thin. Razor sharp shot, just a little too thin. So this is how he reacted.
Actually, he'd have made the 4-6-10 if he had left it up there. He slid that so clean. What a tremendous try. Disappointing. But he still has the lead. 8 pins. We're halfway through the final match in bowling's second term of the Triple Crown, the National Championship.
Average 250.5 on this championship pair. That's more like it. Or John Petraglia.
John throws the power ball, and he reacts to this light hit. Just rips him up. He expected it. Give it a little body English.
Dickinson, who hasn't led at any time in the match, can now take the lead if he can strike here. Has a strike working, can take a 2-pin lead.
And we're in the 6th frame of this championship match. There you have it. You just joined us. Dickinson won the first match over Sam Zurich, 186 to 185. His second over John Denton, 220 to 216. And then eliminated Jay Robinson, 242 to 214.
This match takes on two aspects, Chris. Not only two great champions, Petraglia could be the first man in over 10 years to win the Triple Crown. Dickinson, the first man this year to win 2 PBA titles. Both great champions, 2-pin lead, 7th frame.
Oh, he's strung 3 now here in this pressure-packed final game. Live coverage from Sterling Heights, Michigan.
Now watch him run this one out. He knows it's light, he knows it's a power shot, and he now has a 12-pin lead. Petraglia could once again cut into it, cut it to 2. When Petraglia had his back to the wall, Chris, he threw his best shot. He's a tremendous competitor.
It's what you reach down and come up with those shots, Bo, you champions.
You have to trust your swing, trust your guts. 2 gutty players, 2 tremendous champions going heads up for a major title. Petraglia can take the lead again with another strike.
Slight wobble, not enough.
Petraglia really turned that ball over. He wanted that one. He sent it real wide right to the edge, and it didn't quite. Look how wide this ball is on the very last board, 15 feet from the pocket. Doesn't quite get the break. Gets a 9 count out of it. Could have been worse.
But methodically covers the 3 and marks with a spare in the 8th frame. And now Dickinson is up. He has 3 in a row shooting in the 8th of this final and major championship game.
The first time in a match, Dickinson isn't fighting from behind when he's up on the approach. Has a 3-pin lead, can extend to 13, 8th frame. Almost trips the 4 into the 9 and doesn't get the break with the spare. It'll be back to 2 pins. Both players would have spares up in the 8th.
Been a great finish to a PBA National Championship, Nelson.
Watch Dickinson's shot. Just 2 fingers to kill the roll. Straight at it.
All right, and keeping score for us today, Firestone champion, winner of 6 titles, Mike Durbin. There, look at him take that sigh. He's trying to stay loose here in the final game after winning up to now.
7 days, over 59 games for Dickinson, 56 in the tournament, 3 on television. It's down to the final 2 frames. 9th frame, crucial shot.
180-pounder. Checking that spot. Now the stroke. Wow, 3, 6, 9, 10.
What a bad position for that, Chris. In the other matches, he crossed over and went on to Brooklyn. This time he left himself a difficult spare. We saw Sam Zurich in this situation just chop off 2 pins in the first match.
Beautiful down, covering, marking with a spare in the 9th in a very, very tight game. Shooting in the 9th with a spare up, Petraglia. .511, 150 pounds from the left side. Wow.
Scoreboard tells the story, Chris. Advantage to Johnny Petraglia. Has the strike up in the 9th, that all-important 9th frame. He can really put the pressure on Dickinson. If he strikes here and gets 9 and a spare, he would shut out Gary Dickinson.
He's down on the deck, pounding it. Jubilation, not frustration. Which the game of bowling can often force you into.
And John knows about the importance of that shot. Situation becomes this: 9 spare, he shuts out Dickinson. Strike, he shuts out Dickinson. If Petraglia would happen to get 8 and a spare, we have a possibility once again of a tie.
Oh, he cheered that one. Clenched fists both over his head. And Gary Dickinson, what a day. Yeah, well, 1-3, came from position number 5, but he's against that Tiger who shoots it down now. What a shot, 4 in a row, Finney. It's a 235, and you have a Triple Crown winner. The PBA National Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Firestone Tournament of Champions. We'll talk to him after this.
Mustang. Now there's 50% off the sticker price of a special options package featuring sporty new two-tone colors, low back bucket seats, turbine wheel covers, and more. And you'll find extra value buys on Granadas, Fairmonts, Explorer pickups, and vans during the main event 1980 at your Ford dealers now.
When you're looking for help with your lawn, look to the leader, Lawn Chief Power Mowers from True Value Hardware Stores. Lawn Chief Power Mowers are engineered, tested, and produced in our modern factory with safety and dependability in mind. Each one delivers top value and performance and meets or exceeds OPEI safety standards. Lawn Chief mowers have earned the Good Housekeeping seal, and they are available only at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
David Lacey keeps an eye on nature for Dutch Master cigars. In this Caribbean aging room, he's checking fine tobacco naturally fermenting. If it's too dry, it ferments too slowly. If it's too warm, it overheats and ferments too quickly.
Okay, I'll turn it today.
But a master like Lacey can make nature behave, so fine tobacco can become a fine cigar.
Needs a little more time.
Try our Corona Deluxe. There really are masters at Dutch Masters.
We'll be going back out to Michigan and a visit with the national bowling champion, Johnny Petraglia and Chris Schicklin, in just a moment. Right now, we're very busy here at ABC. We have 3 other live remotes besides this New York position of mine, and a little later on, a Wide World of Sports, you're going to be watching the Florida Derby as the 3-year-old picture, thoroughbred picture, begins to unwind. Plug Nickel, the favorite down there. Jim McKay is also there. You'll see that live. And, of course, we have the WBC Light Heavyweight Championship fight coming your way from Atlantic City. Howard Cosell reporting. Howard standing by right now, so let's drop down to Atlantic City. Take it away, Howard.
Thank you very much, Giffer. Of course, we're here in Atlantic City, Resorts International, awaiting the advent of the WBC Light Heavyweight Championship bout. Matthew Saad Muhammad defending, and the challenger, John Conte, the opposition. The 2 fought last August, you'll remember, and they had a whale of a fight. Conte dominated in the early going, and Saad Muhammad came on strongly, decking the opponent in the 14th round, thus winning an unanimous decision. But there was a controversy in this last fight, which we'll be dwelling upon when we take the air during the Wide World of Sports time period. In any event, based upon the fight that took place last August, this one figures to be an outstanding championship battle, and we look forward to it. Right now, we look forward to returning you to our good friend and colleague in New York, Frank Gifford.
Thank you, Howard. And, of course, once again, we'll also be bringing you the Florida Derby. That'll be live on Wide World of Sports coming up very shortly. Sports items today in women's tennis. Martina Navratilova battled back from the brink of defeat today to beat Billie Jean King in 3 sets to reach the finals of the women's $200,000 invitational tournament. That one being played at Carlsbad, California. The score is 4-6, 7-6, 6-love. The match turned in the second set with Billie Jean King leading a 5-4 match point and serving. But Martina fought off Mrs. King and went on to win a tiebreaker in that set and finally the match. Jesse Owens, who won 4 Olympic gold medals at the 1936 Games, has taken a turn for the worse in his battle against lung cancer. Owens is hospitalized in Tucson, Arizona, where his doctor, Stephen Jones, said today that his condition is deteriorating and he is weak. The condition was discovered in Chicago only last December when he was hospitalized for a few weeks there. 65-year-old Owens then returned to his home in Paradise Valley, Arizona, where he underwent treatments. At the beginning of this month, Owens was admitted to a Phoenix hospital. been transferred to Tucson this past week. Well, the start of the baseball season is 10 days away, but Marvin Miller, executive director of the Players Association, says that a strike is inevitable. Miller said that the league vote is now somewhere around 900 to 1 in favor of the strike. Both parties are meeting in Palm Springs, California tomorrow with the federal mediator, observing to help bring the parties closer. But Miller insists there is no agreement and nothing approaching one. All right, let's go back out now to Chris Schenkel. He's with the national champion in bowling.
The man that has won the 3 major titles in all of bowling, John Petraglia. Congratulations.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Chris, I really wanted this one bad. For the last 3 years, I really wanted this one bad. After I won the U.S. Open, every year, every time the Nationals came around, I bowled bad. I guess I really pressed. This week, I had a really nice shot, and just tried to take advantage of it. And the fans really helped a great bit. These people here have been
Aren't
unbelievable.
they great in the Michigan area? Woo. 235 to 223. And I know you want just a brief comment about your opponent that defeated you earlier in the year to win his title this year, Gary Dickinson.
Well, Gary threw a strike to beat me in the Miller Classic by 1 pin, and I knew that he was going to strike out in the 10th again, and I'm tired of bowling him. Well, he just bowled tremendous. I expected him to strike out in the 10th, so I really thought that I needed the 2 in the 10th.
I'm going to let you rest a minute, the spoils of victory. First, Darrell Duquette, our host here at Sunnybrook Lanes, with an impressive championship trophy. Darrell?
John, on behalf of Sunnybrook Lanes and my 2 sons, Larry and Mike and Bob Cohesion, I'd like to present you with this trophy. And you did fantastic all week, and we were sure proud to have the national tournament here this year.
Thank you. Thank you, Darrell. You and Larry just treated us tremendous all week. The food was great, the crowd was great, and it was just a beautiful week. And having this tournament here in a town like Detroit, one of the biggest bowling towns in the country, and the National going on for 21 years, to be linked with the names of the other guys that have won is just tremendous.
John, as president of the PBA, you really have a lot of clout now that you've won the championship, and I'm sure the commissioner of the PBA, Joe Andonoro, is really happy to present you with this $15,000.
Johnny, 2,000 members call you president. They not call you national champion. On their behalf, congratulations. Check for $15,000.
Thank you, Joe. It's a nice paycheck to be president. Thank you, Commissioner.
What's your schedule now, Johnny? Next week to Milwaukee?
Yeah, we're on to Milwaukee next week for the Miller High Life Open, and I'm defending there. And if I can get up for that one again, it's going to be a miracle because I'm mentally drained right now.
Well, you were up today, 235 to 223. Thanks, Johnny, and congratulations.
Thank you, Chris.
John Petraglia, once again the winner of the $100,000 PBA National Championship, is John Petraglia, 235 to 223. Today's program was produced by Eleanor Rieger, directed by Larry Cavallina, technical director Bob Bernthal, associate director Patty Tewitt. Now this is Chris Schenkel along with Nelson Burton Jr. saying so long from Sterling Heights, Michigan. Be sure to stay tuned for ABC's Wide World of Sports next, when Matthew Saad Mohammed takes on John Conti, a return bout to the WBCA World Light Heavyweight Championship and the Florida Derby live from Florida, the Pro Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by True Value Hardware Stores. True Value, more than just a name, and our way of doing business. And by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life.